Where is this going? Where does it end?
I don't know.
You don't know or you won't tell me?
I told you before, no one can see beyond a choice they don't understand. And I mean no one.
What choice?
It doesn't matter. It's my choice. I have mine to make, same as you have yours.
Does that include what things to tell me and what not to tell me?
Of course not.
Then why didn't you tell me about the architect? Why didn't you tell me about Zion and the ones before me? Why didn't you tell me the truth?
Because it wasn't time for you to know.
Who decided it wasn't time?
You know who.
I did. Then I think it's time for me to know a few more things.
So do I. Everything that has a beginning has an end.
Hello again. Lumen here. My partner wanted me to convey to you his apologies for his less than technologically advanced video editing. But it still served to demonstrate the point. He understands that scene a bit more now. Part of the teachings he has been receiving in regards to how you create your reality, it's about the choices that we make. Not just the big ones but the trillions of small ones. He just concluded a big chapter in the work that we've been doing in cleaning up his timeline. Like most people, he had several significant life experiences which were interconnected narratives, which had not been closed out. Which creates what you might call an effect of being stuck in a loop. Or your mind being stuck in trying to understand something significant in your past. The problem with being caught in the loop of an unclosed narrative is that it prevents you from moving forward into new experiences. Over time this has a ripple effect which causes more and more problems as more and more things begin to freeze up. In order to begin the work of guiding him out of these loops of unclosed narratives, he surrendered willingly to my guidance, so I would be more free to be able to lead him through what he needed to do. We will give you the big revelation that he had, after all previous unclosed narratives were wrapped up. Once you complete one of these experiences with your HGA divine aspect, you will be able to look back at that past and see the easier way, as you will now understand why everything happened as it did. And this will help you from getting stuck in any future experiences that you have. He had had several major successes with me so far, but certain aspects of his experience still seemed stuck. He knew there was some kind of block that he was not seeing. So he asked me to reveal it to him, and said that he would do whatever it took to get past it. Of course I'm not going to relay his personal business to the internet, but it involved some unfortunate circumstances which came as a result of not understanding how this place works in the past. Which broke up a friendship which was crucial to his experience and created a major energy blockage. The path he had to go and me revealing everything which actually happened so that he understood was very unsettling. However, once this last open narrative was completed, and he made peace with this person, he experienced what he would describe as that final scene in the clip at the beginning. A matrix reset. It felt somewhat like a ripple to him, and when it passed it felt like everything had changed. Thoughts, patterns, and feelings which had been very fixed for so long suddenly vanished from the present tense. They seemed much further back in time. As if the narrative had ended at the point in which it should have ended. He's still processing what he's sensing, but everything and everyone that was connected to that extended loop he was in feels different. And perhaps he might have more to share much later, after he sees where this is going and understands it further. But here is what we wanted to share with you. As he was processing and figuring things out today, one word came to him which explained everything. And he knew that this was the key to tell people. He's currently working on several methods and sigils which will help guide people in this process. So if you feel like you're stuck in a loop that doesn't end, and your mind is still fixated on things that happened in the past, then this would be what we would call an unfinished narrative storyline. As the Oracle said in that movie clip, everything that has a beginning has an end. If you take a book out from the library, you read it, return it, and then get a new book. If you have too many books out at once, you can't go get new books from the library until you return the old ones. And that translates into your life experience not moving forward into new experiences. And that's how narrative storylines in this game work. He had several intertwined narrative storylines that had not been closed. So what I've been doing with him over the last month or so is leading him down a path in which these narrative storylines can be closed off one by one. And that means he finally understands what the narrative storylines were about, what the lessons to learn were, and how his choices affected the narrative, and in some cases actually created the narrative. It all comes down to one single word. And this word is going to be your target end result, if you are going to use magic, or any other means to communicate to your HGA divine aspect that you want to bring an experience to an end. That word is closure. He sees several different avenues for which you could go about this, and there are many more that you can choose from that feels right to you. But here is a rough draft of what you need to do. First, you come to realize that you are in a stuck pattern. You need to turn this around, and you need to understand how it came to be. So you could use something like name number 21, Nell Locke, from 72 Sigils of Power to begin to understand the circumstance. Once you understand more about the problem, then you're going to want to find out everything you can about how that problem came into your existence. There are several names from 72 Sigils of Power that would be good for this, but we would recommend number 26, Ha. As you receive information, you'll get a better sense about what you need to do to fix the problem. Or maybe some more work that you need to do in order to release things, like attachments to the situation. That would be number 7, Aka. Once all the work is done, and you've assimilated all the learning that you were supposed to get from that narrative storyline, you could then break down the construct, which is all the connections that situation has created into the present moment, by using the 72nd name, Moom. One of the most important names in the 72. But the goal should always be to achieve closure. The word closure should be in all your questions and all your requests. You want to be led to closure. Depending on the situation and how big it is quite possible that you might experience something, like a feeling of the Matrix glitch like he did. You may even have certain relationships abruptly disappear. There are all sorts of possibilities as your subjective experience begins to realign to where it should be. Keep in mind he did not use this process. Every time he has to do something for the first time, I have to guide him as he fumbles around in the dark trying to figure out what he doesn't know. But after you've reached the conclusion and understand what you needed to do, it's much easier to look back and chart an easier path for people that are going to follow you. Which is what we are doing right now. When Eckhart Tolle says that you need to keep your focus on the present and not the past or the future, that doesn't really go far enough. Unfinished narrative storylines are going to remain in your consciousness, pulling your mind back to it. So past circumstances which still affect you today are big things to target when working with your HGA. You want to ask for guidance to closure. Closure triggers the law of vacuum. All those new narrative storylines which have been prevented from coming into your experience can now come in. If we use a metaphor of a video editing program, there are only so many layers that you can add to any movie that you are editing. It's a bit like that. You have a finite amount of major narrative storyline slots. And the problems which this creates are going to be experienced in ways such as what one might call blockages. Mistake that most people make when they are aware that they have something that is keeping them stuck is that they will use magic or some other means to try and fix the problem externally. As if the blockage is something outside of them that needs to be removed. In a sense, they are treating it as if it is a condition that can be banished. But everything you see and experience in your subjective reality as external to you is a projection of your internal self. The world you see is still you. It is the outside you. It is showing you what you believe and expect to see. The true way to change anything the most efficiently is to know that all external circumstances are the product of internal conditions and current or unfinished narrative storylines. You should always think in terms of your outside world problems originating internally. That's where you need to do your work. And that is why connecting with your HGA divine aspect is so important. Because they can see everything. They know exactly what's going on and why it's happening. They're going to be your best and most accurate source of information to getting to the root of things. My partner had that last narrative storyline locked up pretty tightly and buried deep because it was a more painful one. But it was having major impacts on his external experience. He probably would not have ever found it or figured it out had he not had the cooperative relationship with me, surrendered control in order for him to be guided by me better, and had my help in communicating what he needed to say in a clear manner. Trust me on that. We'd be waiting a long time for him to come up with the right words. Luckily we are very practiced in me doing the writing as we do here. The entire length of time from him asking me to reveal to him his biggest hidden block, to the point of resolution and reality shift, was right around 7 days. So more cooperative you are, the faster we can get things done together. So there's your big clue. What is going on in your life which could be tied to a previous narrative storyline, in which you have not found closure? You may not even know which narrative it is. And you may not know the best path to closure. And that is why you ask your HGA divine aspect to lead you. That's all for today. Hopefully this is a big help to you, and gives you an intuitive spark of where you can apply this concept. I wish you the best of luck on your journey. Until next time. Thanks for watching. If you want to continue the discussion on Facebook, you can find a link to our Facebook group in the description box below. If you find value in this information and you would like to support the creator while helping your own journey, be sure to check out the High Power Creations page and group on Facebook, as well as Instagram. High Power Creations makes specifically designed, programmed, and charged energy pendants which are made from the kinds of harder to acquire crystals and stones you don't generally find in gift shops. They do a number of things which can greatly help you on this journey, as they did their creator. The first few years he wasn't able to explain how he knew how to design them, or power them so much. But now he does. That was me. I was the source of that inspiration and guidance. I used his skills to create things which helped him to connect to me better, as well as a means to provide for himself and his family. So whether it's clearing negative energy that's bogging you down, or attuning you better to your HGA, they have a reputation of being powerful and effective if you are open to it. You can contact him for a free basic consult in which we will be able to determine a few choices that are best for you. Then we will show you how to sense your HGA's guidance on which of those choices it thinks you should start with. That way you end up with the best choice you need the most in the beginning. Links are in the description box below. Thank you again.